Good afternoon. I'm Rachel Kalishaw, Director of AI Activation. And in my role, I work closely with the go-to-market and product teams to integrate and scale our AI solution. As she mentioned, prior to joining, I came from the client side at Neiman Marcus, where I spent 6 years in a variety of email and CRM roles, and most notably was a client of both Movable and Coherent Path, which is now Vinci. So I'm delighted to be joined by Sarah Rasmussen, Chief Innovation Officer at Lands' End, to share the story of how Vinci can revolutionize your email program. So Sarah, please introduce us. Tell us a little bit more about your role and Lands' End.
Sure. I am Sarah Rasmussen, the Chief Innovation Officer for Lands' End. Previously held the title of Chief Customer Officer. So in that role of Chief Customer Officer, it was owning basically every single touch point, which includes email. So lots of our direct response marketing. As Chief Innovation Officer, that role has evolved to one, find ways to innovate for the Lands' End customer, what's new tech we can push out to our customer, but also for our employees. So what is innovative for our employees, and I think, as we'll talk about, Vinci fits nicely into that as far as what we are enabling our employees to be able to do. Let's see, what else? Okay, Lands' End, we're based in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. We are not based in Maine. That is another company that starts with L. But 90% of our business is conducted online. So we are primarily, we send a lot of catalogs. So about half of our marketing budget is spent on catalogs, the other half in digital advertising, email, et cetera.
Awesome. So what are the primary goals for the organization, specifically the marketing organization?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's about, if we're like any direct response retailer, it's about eliciting a response from a customer. What's the maximum best reach we can get in the most effective way possible.
Yep. And how big, you mentioned email is an important part of your business. How big is that program?
Yeah, so we have a customer file, very, very, very robust customer file, about 6 million customers. Our customers have remarkable tenure with us. She's with us for about 19 years. So that's some loyalty, built-in loyalty that a lot of people would like to have. And then we email about 60 million emails a week. So it's a very important program to Lands' End.
Awesome. So I want to chat about AI, and I know the poll that we shared yesterday, we took a survey ahead of Think Summit, and about a quarter of the audience is implementing AI actively today. But what's interesting is I want to know what led you to explore an AI solution back in 2021, right before all the hype that began earlier this year.
Yeah. I mentioned it this morning a little bit, but anything that was traditional segmentation just couldn't scale. I mean, we were sending plus-size email segments. We were putting personalized product recommendations in email. We were maybe doing in-flight subject line testing. I mean, there were just things that we were doing, but nothing could really ever scale without saying, okay, well, I need 20 more people in creative who can build emails for all the segments I want to do. I need 20 more people in marketing to manage cutting lists and so on and so forth. Yep. And it just wasn't solving interesting problems. I think we all want to crack the next product to buy problem, right? And again, you can stuff a product recommendation in there, but does a product page image necessarily inspire, or again, it's going to show you the price and the image, but not show you features and benefits of a product that would be in a piece of content, right? Yep. So, it's like, okay, if we've got to grow it and it's not going away anytime soon, we've got to find a way to scale it.
Yep. So, I mean, we hear a lot of those similar challenges, and at Neiman's we had, segmentation was difficult to scale. We had the decisioning, whether it be from a third-party tool or our in-house data science team, but it was never connected to content and those downstream marketing channels.
Right.
So I'm curious, like, how have you now put that all together with Vinci?
Well, it's again, we're not perfect at it. I just want everybody to know we don't have it nailed 100% of the time. But the fact that we can create a bank of, I don't know, what was the multiplier on, where's Raincoat?
Yeah. It was hundreds of thousands of versions.
244
creative assets. Yeah.
250,000 possible email iterations, right? So, the bank of content is enormous. We, our able to experiment more with subject lines. Why aren't I in this beta I heard about this morning? I want to know
We'll get
that
you.
as
We'll get
well.
you in it,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Alpha, folks. I want an alphas. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting to trust the machine more and more. Where we have had growing pains is in a couple places. One of them being that of the content creation, you have Mary over here who likes to talk about features and benefits with bullets, and you have Joe over here who likes to use features and benefits talking about icons. It's kind of shown a light that okay, maybe we don't have the purest brand voice.
Yep.
Right? That somebody thinks it's this and somebody thinks it's that. We have to have our voice aligned if you're going to rely on a machine to pull
put it all
together
together.
something that looks like loud and proud the Land's End brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's really the adoption of the creative team, but what about the merchants? I know earlier we talked about the raincoats, balancing those requests from merchants, and every time I bring up this topic in a room full of marketers, I feel like I'm like, who here has been personally victimized by Regina George? Because everyone's like, yes, me, I have this problem. So
it's
how have you overcome that? Because that is difficult for all of us.
Because again, what they want is the merch cal that shows that this time last year they had their swimsuit, their tankini email, and if they're gonna match and to that, the question is do you really plan to a day? What merchant plans to a day?
Into an hour, yeah.
Or a week, or again, nobody plans their business like that,
Yeah.
right? And so the fact that you can give somebody, you're not going to get your tankini blast on Tuesday, but you're going to get to 6 million people, but you're going to get 20 blasts of that tankini across a season to 6 million people, and maybe some of them 2 or 3 times because you put a little content on that lipstick on that pig, and she gets it out a few more times, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard changing that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when because creative and merch they've moved on, right? So a little something shows in an email, an asset shows that they were done with last month, but the customer is not done with it,
Yeah.
and so it's hard.
Yeah. It is.
It's hard. It's just a constant conversation.
Yeah.
But they like it when they, raincoat. Okay, you sold it at full price, off season. Okay, you like that? Yeah, they like those apples.
I mean, you mentioned the February and March. It's obviously still raining in April and May and June. Why would you not have an email that could speak to
right.
this?
Again, if somebody wants to buy a down coat in July and I've got inventory, okay.
Yeah. Why not?
So
as part of that internal buy-in, I know this morning as well you mentioned the sentiment score.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about those performance metrics and how did that help you get through to those merchants and those creative teams?
Yeah, and I don't know why it's the word sentiment that is so appealing to them. Maybe it's just a right brain, left brain thing, I don't know. But it, where I value opens, clicks, right? To them, that helps them kind of be attached to that asset, and whether that asset is a piece of creative or product, but to them, that is saying oh, my customer loved that.
Yep.
And that I don't know, has appeal.
Yeah. And would you say when you're looking at the overall performance, again, at Neiman's, we would still be beholden to that year-over-year metrics? Mm-hmm. So it's you still have the ability to report out on that. You just can't say, here's the exact email that drove those metrics. There's hundreds of thousands of versions of an email.
Right. And they do love seeing,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, so the canvas tote example from this morning, right? They do love to see which one got the highest sentiment score. If getting 4 canvas tote creatives and 8 emails, which one had the most appeal? And they get a little competitive within each other, aha, mine won.
Yeah.
But
that little healthy competition,
yes,
I think is
but,
good.
But I don't know why there's something sticky with the sentiment score.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've been able to inject that into your process, though. They've been able to adopt that and use that for future planning, which is great, because that's definitely a question that we get often. Let's see. So jumping back to some of those challenges, you mentioned scaling and execution, but what about performance? How had that been going prior to the adoption of AI and where it is now?
Yeah, everything was just meh. Like it was fine. It was like, talk about year and year and year. It's like, a flat email program is not exciting when you want to grow your company by 30%. So, that's what we were looking for, and what did we need? And obviously, Apple has made our lives more hell. And so what can we do to make that interesting? So we started to look at where we were or were not getting engagement within our emails, and while we would certainly get an open with a promo, it became clear that really it was only a promo that was getting the open. So we had to look at that and what can we do to drive that.
Yep.
Obviously, this is where Coherent Path, Vinci came in. And what we saw in a test that we ran as a side-by-side for a full month, and November, if you're in retail, is a good month to test because you get results you can believe in, right?
Yeah.
And so what we saw was that flashed on the screen earlier, but a double-digit increase in clicks, and then double that on the personalized portion of the email. So that to me was a compelling reason to keep on moving.
Absolutely, and I know post-pilot you've now moved away from just personalizing the hero to multiple zones within the email.
Yep.
So that's where you really get to see those hundreds of thousands of iterations going out. But I'm curious, what's next on the radar for you? What are you excited about? As I kind of think about, we're actually using AI, and I think it's safe to say we punch above our weight class at Land's End. I think about the price promo equation, and how can I use AI to better play out what promotions. I mean, again, if I'm sending you a tankini email and you're going to buy a tankini, why do I ever have to give you a promotion? So those are things I sort of think about. I think about, I don't think the inventory, so our actual owned inventory, is as integrated as I would like it to be. So again, if I have that bank of 300 assets and the pink toad is sold out, how am I not flashing that to the customer? So there's things that we need to keep marching toward. Yep, inventory is definitely unpopular. When I was chatting with someone last night at the happy hour about that same thing, you can easily remove it from the library, which adds that flexibility, but how do we go a step further?
Right.
So that's awesome. So what about those in the room? Again, only a quarter of actively implementing AI. So what advice do you have for those that are just now embarking on that journey?
You just can't over communicate enough. As soon as anything you take for granted, people just aren't really understanding. I said the example of your boss calling. I mean, my CEO calling. Why did I get an email about dresses? Well, because again, remember last week or yesterday we were looking and we were talking about our dress assortment. Oh, right. Okay. And so there's just a lot of that. There is a lot with the merchant email calendar. Okay, remember this is why you're not doing this year, because you're going to get it spread across the lifetime. You just got to talk a lot. That's
No, repetition is key.
Yes,
it really is.
Adults learn slower than children. Everybody remember that. Yes. And the other thing that I have to remind them often is they aren't real customers, which is hard. But you are not a real customer. I open 100% of the emails that I get from Land's End. Our customer opens 10% of them. I visit our site 10, 20, 30 times a day. Our average customer comes to the site and shops 5 times a year, right? So it's okay if I've got a green blazer here that's catching my eye, sassy. So it's okay if green blazer surfaces a couple times a year to you, because if you didn't wholesale reject it, you just weren't ready to buy a green blazer at that time, and green blazer a month from now is a great asset to put in front of the customer. So that's.
Yeah, no, we have similar problems of you're on the site, you're clicking, you're interacting in ways that our customers are not.
I mean, the number of times they tell me, well, new arrivals. I mean, new arrivals. I'm like, nobody shops by new arrivals, and nobody ever believes me. These are these battle, fewer than 2% of our customers ever shop by new arrivals. That's not true. Well, I got numbers.
Yeah. And numbers are key. With that, thank you so much, Sarah. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and I'm sure you've all enjoyed hearing from Sarah. If this inspired you, please come find us afterwards. Ask us your questions. Also, we'll be at Commerce next week here in the city, 20th and 21st. Raise your hand if you're local. A few. So we have some VIP passes left, and we're hosting a happy hour, Drinks with Vinci. So please come chat with me, chat with your sales and CX rep, and we'll see you there. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.